Good evening, guys. It's about 4 o'clock. Today is the 25th Wednesday of October. Hope everybody is doing well. It was a distribution day again in the market after two very good days. You're looking actually at the monthly chart of the NASDAQ. As you can see, strong move all the way up to 2022, and then a nice little bottom. Now the market is testing again. Not sure exactly where, but we expected this kind of a pullback given the overall macroeconomic news is not great. Interest rates are very high. But on the weekly chart, it's still looking like, as I had told you guys yesterday, that 12,506 is the most likely. Another 300 points down from here is the most likely test, first step. And after that, we shall see whether it wants to bounce up or maybe test a little bit more, maybe in the 11,000 range. I don't think it's going to go into the 11,000 range, but you never know. After the formation of the head and shoulders pattern, it has been consistently dropping. So NASDAQ down about almost 2.5% today, about 318 points, which was a tough day for most of the technology stocks except for Microsoft, which did well. S&P 500 down about 1.5%, 60 points on the day, still in a downward channel. All of the major short-term, whether it's the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 100-day moving averages pointing flat to lower. The only one that's pointing a little bit higher is the 200-day moving average. And then if you look at the Dow Jones, they also had a fairly rough day for the Dow Jones, down roughly about, I would say, in the range of about 105 points. It was the strongest of the three, surprisingly, but still down about 100 points. And even the Dow looks very difficult right now. Of course, if we haven't been following it too much, but the small cap index, just to give you guys, this is the IWM small cap index, has been on an absolute killing. It's been down for quite a bit of time, looks the weakest of the lot. And if it breaches the 161 range, which it most likely will, then, not really sure if there's going to be a support for it at 149, but short term, 161 looks likely. All right, today I wanted to talk about one stock which came up in the screeners today, and that was Sweet Green Market, Sprouts Farmers Market SFM is the ticker symbol, hitting 52-week highs. So this stock, has been doing very, very well, even in this market. So let's go through a 5-step process, see what we find. Start always with the financials and fundamentals, and then we work our way into the technicals. So from an annualized basis, if you look at Sprouts Financial, roughly grew from about 4 billion in 2016 to about 6 billion, 50% growth over 7 years. Not very good growth. So if you look at it, when it's gone from the teens and double-digit growth down to single-digit, moved up a little bit, 14% grew back growth. Really had a horrible 2021. This is probably because of COVID, as you can assume, and then now trying to regain its growth, but still in the single digits for last year. Not sure if this is necessarily a good thing. This is not usually the kind of stock I would touch. 2 billion in gross profit is roughly about 30%, so 29-30%, let's say. So low margin business, and because it's a grocery store, 300 million in net profit is about 3 to 4%. Okay, so that's really, really low. But profits have been growing a little bit faster than revenue has, so that's a good sign. They're getting some efficiencies. On a quarterly basis, revenue grew 6% in the last quarter, so hopefully they continue that, move up a little bit closer to the double-digit growth, doing about, as I said, close to about $6.5 billion. Valuations mostly look okay in terms of the price earnings. They're going about 18 times for 6% growth. And in terms of price to sales, 0.69 for a grocery store, which is reasonable. And then the last thing, if you want to check, is the balance sheet. Just make sure that they don't have too much debt. So, wow, that's a lot of debt. 1.6 billion debt, almost 50% of their assets are in debt. Tough, but stock's performing well. Let's take a look at the technicals and see if there's a technical reason why the stock is doing very, very well. I go all the way to, let's start with the monthly chart. On the monthly chart, oh, wow. Okay. On the monthly chart, it's hitting new highs. So this is formed a nice U pattern. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why. It's building a strong base all the way from here. I'm going to call it till, let's say, even till here. And look at the nice base that it has built for itself. It's a strong base, which usually means it's going higher. And once it's formed a good, strong base, I can also see a good channel that has formed for it, actually a little bit even earlier than that, that is formed for the channel, and that seems to be in this kind of a range, which is interesting. Let's keep tweaking it as we go along, but good strong 4 candles, 4 consistent monthly performance, trying to break out of this range. And this seems to be actually, if you look at it, this seems to be most likely the resistance for it as it comes by, which is in the 48 range. So we're going to watch out for that. On the weekly chart, yeah, so you can actually see this much, much better on the weekly chart. It formed a very good base, but this is not a stock I would say is very easy to trade. Look at the weekly drops. So this is a stock that you want to be a little bit careful with. This has a tendency for most parts to take a little bit of a break. And if you are into trading, then I think this is probably a very good stock to trade, given that it's a little bit more predictable. But on the weekly chart, hitting new highs, it's forming very much within the channel. After the base has been formed, it's still getting out of that to a certain extent. So I would say I would probably adjust the base a little bit just to make sure that I can get a little bit of a better view. So I'm going to move the base after it's formed to somewhere around here time frame and make it so that it is, this is probably a better base formation than anything else. Yeah, let's move that across. I'm going to move the base a little bit better. This to this, and then a nice little base has been formed. And then on an uptrend. On the daily chart, let's look at the daily chart. On the daily chart, try to actually hit this new high twice. So it's broken out of a little bit of a resistance in the short term in the 44 range. Oh no, the 43 range. So it still has some resistance for it. I suspect it's going to have a little bit of a challenge. Hopefully it does break through resistance to get to the 48. But even before that, it has seen a little bit of resistance in the 44. So I would watch for, if you look at the RSI, it's not exactly stretched, but it's getting high. So my suggestion would be to not take this trade. Actually, it's not a good setup for me. It would have, that would be probably 44.43 would probably be the resistance, with some support in the $40 range, and could be even in the multiple touches in the 41 range. Not a good risk reward scenario for me right now. So it is a good stock. It has been going very well in terms of how it's been performing. But I'm still not convinced that this is a stock I should take a trade in right now. So I'm going to pass on taking a trade in, but I'm going to watch this very closely. That's SFM, Sprouts Farmers Market. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like and share.